There are stories that feel invented. Stories that sound like lies, simply because the truth is too large, too merciless, too impossible to fit inside one human life. This is one of them. On January 29, 2014, long before dawn could stretch her fingers across the Marshall Islands, one of the fishermen walking along Eben Atoll saw something that did not belong to the shore. A small boat, barely more than a skeleton of wood, had washed up on the forgotten beach. Its hull was scratched, as if the ocean itself had tried to chew it apart, then changed its mind. Inside it, lying like a discarded offering, was a man, near naked, burned by the sun, skin torn, hair matted to his skull, smelling of salt and death. He was breathing. Barely. No one should have been breathing. Not after what he had endured. He would later speak, in a voice that trembled like a rusted hinge, and describe how he had survived 13 months adrift in the Pacific Ocean. 13 months, with no food, no water, no engine, no sail, no compass, no God. The ocean should have taken him. Yet, it spat him back. His name was Jose Salvador Alvarenga. The sea chooses its victims. The ocean kills quickly. A wave. A storm. A silent pull downward. It can end a life in seconds. But sometimes, on rare, cruel occasions, the sea decides to do something far worse. It keeps a man alive. It stretches his suffering into a thin, fragile thread. It watches him starve, burn, rot, hallucinate, scream, bargain, and break. And then, when nothing remains of him except a whisper, it gives him back to the world. Not as a man, but as a message. Before the ocean took him. Before he became a ghost, before newspapers around the world printed his name, Jose was just a fisherman. He lived in El Salvador, a place where the ocean is both a blessing and a curse. Where children learn to swim before they can read. Where hunger speaks louder than fear. Jose was not the kind of man who sought adventure. Adventure was a luxury. He sought work. Money. Food. Enough to keep another day from swallowing him. On the day that changed everything, the sky was gray. The kind of gray that sailors learn to distrust. He and a 22-year-old assistant, Ezekiel, pushed a small fiberglass boat into the waves. Their task, catch sharks. Not for glory, not for sport, but because their meat sold well. They carried heavy checkmark bait, heavy checkmark hooks, heavy checkmark knives, heavy checkmark a radio, heavy checkmark a small engine, heavy checkmark 7 days of food, heavy checkmark a jug of water. They did not carry fate, but fate carried them. The warning the sea gave first. There is a moment, described in different ways by different survivors, when the body senses death long before the mind understands it. A pressure in the chest. A coldness in the spine. A whisper that says, do not go. Jose felt it. He stood ankle-deep in the water, hands gripping the boat, and for just 1 second he nearly said, let's stay. But hunger drowned the warning. They climbed aboard. The motor roared to life. The village shrank behind them. And the Pacific opened its jaws. The storm that broke the world. Storms do not always announce themselves. Sometimes they fall from the sky like an ambush. The waves began small, the kind that make sailors joke and spit and pretend not to be afraid. Then they grew. 1 meter. 2. 4. Walls of water. The rain hit like gravel. Lightning scratched across the sky like claws. Ezekiel screamed. Jose cursed the engine, pulling the cord again and again until his knuckles bled. The boat rose and fell, a toy in the hands of a god that did not care. Wind stole their voices. Salt blinded their eyes. Every breath tasted like drowning. And then, with a sound that would follow Jose into every nightmare he would ever have, the engine died. When silence came, it was worse than any thunder. The first death was hope. When dawn finally broke, it revealed a world without land. No coastline. No island. No birds. Only blue. A billion shades of blue. The type of blue that feels like eternity. They tried the radio. Nothing. They checked the food. Destroyed. They counted the water. Almost gone. Jose did not panic, not yet. He had survived storms before. He knew how to wait. But the ocean had patience, far greater than his. Days passed. The sun boiled their skin. Salt turned their lips into open wounds. Their throats became deserts. When hunger sharpened itself into something unbearable, the ocean did what it sometimes does to the desperate. It sent fish into the boat. Flying fish, leaping over the gunwale at night. Jose grabbed them with shaking hands, bit their heads off, and swallowed them raw. Blood became water. Meat became life. Only one of them could handle that. The boy who couldn't stay alive. Ezekiel changed first. His eyes lost focus. His body trembled. He spoke to people who weren't there. He whispered, "My mother is waiting for me." Jose tried to stop him. But the day came when Ezekiel, thirsty beyond sanity, cupped his hands and drank seawater. There are deaths the ocean takes directly, and deaths the ocean tricks you into choosing. 4 days later, Ezekiel stopped breathing. The boat, too small to bury him, became a coffin. Jose sat with the body for a night. He apologized. Then, with hands that no longer felt human, he lifted the boy and gave him back to the sea. The ocean swallowed him without ceremony. And Jose became a population of one. Solitude is a predator. There are predators you can see: sharks, storms, hunger. But solitude is different. It does not tear your skin. It does not crush bone. It sits inside you, quietly, and eats from the inside out. Jose was alone. Not alone like a person in a silent room. Alone like the only consciousness left in a floating coffin in the middle of endless water. He spoke aloud to himself. Because silence, if left unchecked, becomes a kind of drowning. He counted days, until numbers no longer made sense. He tried to sleep, but his dreams were filled with screams. He forced himself to wake, but wakefulness meant confronting the sky that refused to change, and the water that waited beneath him, patient, like a grave with infinite space. Loneliness is slow torture. And every morning, Jose woke to another execution. The body learns to be an animal. Humans are not designed for the open sea. Skin peels. Hair falls out. Blood thickens. Organs shrink. Thought becomes primitive. Jose learned to drink rain. He stretched a torn shirt across the hull to catch droplets, licking fabric as though it were a sacred ritual. He learned that birds sometimes landed on the boat. He learned that when hunger turns you into something less than human, you grab a bird by the neck with both hands and you do not think. You only swallow. He learned the ocean gives, but only after it takes. Fish slipped across his fingers like ghosts. But sometimes, once every few days, one would leap onto the floorboards, as if thrown by an unseen force. He ate bones. He ate eyes. He ate until eating stopped being a choice, and became what separated him from the corpse he feared he already was. The mind begins to fracture. After weeks, or months, time was no longer a concept. He dreamed while awake, and woke inside dreams. Sometimes, he spoke to Ezekiel. "Help me pull the net. Tell me a story. Don't leave." He knew the boy was gone, swallowed by the same water that now rocked him to sleep. But the mind, when brutalized, resurrects ghosts. He hallucinated voices at night. Voices like whispers pressed against his ear. "Why did you live? What are you waiting for?" The ocean does not make mistakes. He once saw a ship, massive, white, divine. He screamed. He waved his shirt. He held fish above his head like an offering. No reaction. The ship drifted past, unaware that it had just watched a man fall deeper into hell. When the wake hit his boat, Jose laughed. A laugh that sounded like breaking glass. He was becoming something else. Something molded by desperation. A creature of salt and bone. The ocean offers madness. One night, the sky changed. Cloudless. Moonlit. Still. Too still. The sea became a mirror. A black, endless glass stretching beyond all comprehension. Jose leaned over the edge. And saw his face. Thin. A skull wrapped in skin. Eyes that looked like caves. Hair tangled like seaweed. He did not recognize the person staring back. He whispered, "Who are you?" The reflection did not move with him. For 1 second. One horrifying heartbeat. It remained still, staring up. As though someone else was inside the ocean, wearing his face. He fell backward, breathing like prey. He told himself it was hallucination. But something inside him, something that still remembered fear, said, "You are not alone out here." When death became acceptable. It is difficult to pinpoint the exact moment when a man gives up. For Jose, it happened slowly. First, he stopped looking for land. Then, he stopped praying. Then, he stopped counting days. One night, he lay flat on the wood, body like wet rope, and whispered to the stars, "Take me." He waited for the sea to pull him down. But death, insultingly, did not come. It let him sleep. And in the morning, he woke to a shadow above him. A visitor. It was not a ship. It was not a bird. It was a shape. A shape moving beneath the surface, circling, like a guardian, or a reaper waiting for permission. A shark. It was enormous. Gray, silent, patient. Its fin cut the surface like a blade. For days, it circled him. Never attacking. Never leaving. Jose spoke to it. "You want me." The creature moved closer. "You're waiting." Still closer. He stared into its black, soulless eye. And for the first time in months, he felt something. Not fear. Not rage. Recognition. The shark was not there to kill him. It was there to remind him That everything alive is only alive because something else has not yet decided to eat it. It was at that moment that Jose realized. The ocean did not want him dead. Not yet. Because it still had more to take. A raft of bones. His boat, battered by storms, eroded by salt, began to rot. Wood peeled like dead skin. Nails rusted into dust. One morning, he awoke to water against his legs, seeping through cracks that shouldn't exist. Panic, a feeling he thought he had forgotten, returned. He ripped boards from the sides. He tied ropes made of shredded clothing. He constructed patches like a surgeon stitching a body that refused to stop bleeding. He ate less. Not to save food, but because his stomach had shrunk into a fist. The shark stayed. Watching. Waiting. Companion. Executioner. Witness. He wondered if his mind had broken so deeply that he had befriended death. The first miracle. He woke. And for the first time in months, he heard a sound. That was not wind. Or water. Or his own heart. Birds. Not one. Dozens. Birds meant land. Birds meant life. He stood, legs weak, climbed onto the edge, searching the horizon. There, a blade of green in a world of blue. Land. He screamed. He cried. He fell to his knees. His shark, the one constant, disappeared beneath the surface.